Here's what the Dodge Charger you drive says about you, part 2. First, we have the post-facelift 7th gen RT, and there are two very different types of owners. First, you have the guys with the non-SRT body kits, and you're all pretty much chill dudes, probably some of the least problematic Mopar owners out there. The worst thing you might do is flood all of the Mopar owners Facebook groups asking the same question, which is, what should you do to get rid of the one-wheel peel whenever you're doing a donut in your car? And then you have the guys with the SRT body kits on their RT, and they tend to act a little different because their favorite hobby is to go around saying, I bought an RT because it's a better platform than the Scat Pack. And then they immediately turn around and start modding their RT with a bunch of parts from a Scat Pack. Like, brother, you could have just gotten the Scat Pack in the first place. And then you have the guys with the clean title Hellcats. You either can't drive at all, lose to naturally aspirated Mustangs, and just bought the car to look cool, or you can whip that thing as good as Lewis Hamilton. There is absolutely no in between. And if you're the type that can drive it well, you most likely drive that thing around in track mode because you like how violently the transmission shifts. And then if you have a first gen, the actual first gen, you are a classics guy, and you did not buy this car for clout. You actually love this thing. However, deep down, you really wish you would have gotten a second gen. However, you will never admit that to anybody. And then you have the 6th gen with the 3.5 liter V6. And I can almost guarantee that your front suspension clunks like a freight train every time you go over a bump. And you bought that thing fully knowing that you are not beating any other car in a race. However, you know that it is more reliable and more powerful than the one with the 2.7 liter. And if you have an 8th generation Daytona EV, you got this thing because you're only paying $200 a month on some crazy lease deal. And then you have the 7th gen pre-facelift SRT Super B. And you bought this thing because you wanted a 6.4 liter Hemi while on a budget, and that is totally valid. However, you make sure you never let anyone see that interior because it looks the same as a V6, just with some special stripes on your cloth seats. And you can't forget about that little calculator screen you have in there. Drop a follow for part 3.